Hey everybody, Friday, 12:30 p.m. East Coast time. I just felt like I had to make this video because last night I was watching, well, I didn't actually watch, I caught snippets of a town hall with Bill O'Reilly, James Carville, Democratic strategist, Chris Cuomo, and Stephen A. Smith for some reason. Sports journalist Stephen A. Smith talking about running for president. That's a whole other thing. I'm not going to get into it on this. But what really hit me with this town hall, and O'Reilly had part of it was O'Reilly interviewing Trump on a phone line. I think it was like a 25-minute interview. What really struck me, not that I needed any more convincing about this, believe me, was how the whole money mentality has not only, embedded itself in everything, economics, society, but how it has distorted reality. And O'Reilly, and all these guys are very educated. Well, O'Reilly's very educated. He went to Harvard. I don't know about the others, but they're educated, okay? Stephen A. Smith, but they're educated. And all it was when O'Reilly was interviewing Trump, and then when he after the interview when he I guess he had kind of like a debate with James Carville. I'll get into that in a second. And everything was framed in like, we're losing, because Trump's been saying that the United States is getting ripped off. We are losing $5 billion a day. So every bit of framing solely and uniquely focuses on the money aspect, the accounting record aspect. Nothing is ever mentioned about the other side of that transaction, which are the real assets that we get in exchange for that money. Now, this might seem trivial to you. This might seem like nothing, but this is profound, okay? This money mentality has completely distorted reality. As human beings, we need stuff to live, to survive. We need the basics: food, water, a clean environment, healthcare, maybe some education. Okay? Then on top of that, maybe some conveniences, consumer goods, leisure, all of these things represent or are part of the real assets that we as human beings, shelter, okay, a place to live. These are the things we need to survive. Money alone is useless other than how it is involved in the transfer of goods and services. It's the goods and services, the real assets, that are the most important thing. And when you hear a guy like O'Reilly, and O'Reilly, listen, James Carville, who I'm no fan of this guy. I think he's kind of reptilian in a way. Bizarre dude, kind of foams at the mouth, spit, foaming up here in the corner. It's hard for me to watch him, but he at least made an attempt. When it came to explaining trade, he said, of course, we're going to buy more t-shirts from Sri Lanka than we sell to Sri Lanka. At least he made an attempt to try to address it in terms of the real assets. O'Reilly kept pounding the table on, we're losing $5 billion, $1 trillion. It's an exchange, okay? An exchange which basically costs us nothing, unless you want to argue that this offshoring has led to a decline in certain kinds of jobs over the last, 50 years or whatever. But that has been true for all of history because of innovation, technological advancements. I mean, industries disappear. We don't use whale oil anymore to light our streets and heat our homes. Whaling was a big freaking industry in the 19th century. I mean, these examples could go on and on and on. But it's absolutely, it's gotten to a point, the president talking every day about we're losing 5 billion, never a mention of what it is. A transaction, it is an exchange. Our money, which is basically an accounting unit for goods and services, mainly goods, okay, because we run a surplus in trade with services. That enhances our lives. If you want to create jobs, like who's going to go back to the factory? Like you're talking about like the 1970s, the 1960s. We're going to walk there with our lunch pail to the factory? You want to create jobs. What about the freaking infrastructure? China's blowing us away. What about infrastructure rebuilding? What about environment? What about healthcare? What about, all these things? What about basic science and research? What about free education? Okay, and we want an educated citizenry because that's where innovation comes from. That's where the advancement of humanity comes from. I mean, it is really, really unbelievable. I don't know who sold Trump on this idea, going back to some kind of 19th century mercantilism and this tunnel vision focus on the money. Money, listen, if we were a country that our economy was driven by, exports because, I don't know for what reason, we had no resource, we couldn't do it ourselves. We wanted to save in some other foreign currency. Maybe we had debts denominated in some other foreign currency that we could only satisfy by acquiring that. None of these things apply. Not only do they not apply, but we stand alone, the United States of America, as the global economic powerhouse, maybe not for much longer. But it just blows my mind, man. Like, these are educated people. And they just completely miss the picture. And this money mentality is so ingrained and so pervasive and so, it's like a pathology. It's like a sickness. I always call monetarism a mental illness. It has distorted our reality of everything. Okay? It's like we need that money so bad. There's a complete omission. Not even talking about, not even a mention, anything. It's that whole other side of the equation, which is the most important side of the equation, which is completely left out. We're being ripped off. How? We need to gain more accounting units? I mean, it's absolutely preposterous. We are beyond any hope now. I mean, the system is kind of running on its own momentum. There's a structure in place. The financial sector, we got great companies, but this is a highly, highly, I think, in my opinion, destructive policy and belief system. And like I said all the time, and I'll say it again, a bad belief system is like a disease in the body. And if you don't cure the disease, you're going to kill the body. And it's mind-boggling to me that this conversation plays on without anybody questioning the other side of the coin or bringing that up or saying, hey, look, it doesn't really cost us anything. If you want to talk about jobs, like I said, we can create jobs in other sectors of the economy, and jobs have always been disappearing as a result of technological innovation for centuries. That's a fact. That's inescapable, but it's still, the growth of our standard of living, of humanity, all that thing progresses forward as a consequence of that technological advancement and innovation. I mean, we got freaking, space travel and artificial intelligence and computers on your phone in your pocket. I mean, and we're talking about we need to get back this $5 billion a day. No, we need the stuff. And it's not going to be easy. I don't know, like, look, maybe I'm going to end up being wrong, and maybe all of that's going to be shifted back here to the United States. That is a monumental effort. For what reason, I really have no idea. Some things, maybe you want to do it, like I said in past videos, maybe for national security, defense, you want your own steel industry, you want to make sure you have enough food, like the stuff you need to survive as a nation. But like, we got to sell our cars? Who cares? Why do we need to give them our cars? Why do we need to give them our energy? I mean, all this stuff is like ridiculous. It is completely ridiculous. Like, there's a lot we can improve here in this country. You go around, our infrastructure is falling apart. We used to be the gold standard of the entire world. For decades, we were the leaders. Nobody was able to come close. Now, most places you go to, it's shabby, it's run down. We don't have enough housing for the citizens of our country. I mean, it's unbelievable, man. Anyway, I just want to put that out there. It's like 90 degrees, and I got to get to work. All right, have a good afternoon. I got boxing tonight, sparring, so bye.